magic of the Harry Potter books really comes to life in the way that the author J.K. Rowling describes the places Harry visits. One of the most astonishing places Harry gets to explore is Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Imagine his surprise when he first walks into the splendid Great Hall. In the story, the author describes tables laid with glittering golden plates and goblets, and a velvety black ceiling dotted with stars. Words are magic. They can describe a scene so vividly and create such a strong sense of atmosphere that it's almost like you're painting a picture for your reader. Using the magical places we find in Harry Potter as our inspiration, we will be coming up with ideas for writing a description of our own magical setting. The magical place you'll write about is yours to choose. Go wherever your imagination takes you. Where will you choose? It could be a vast cavernous hall just like this one, with an enormous fireplace. An even better description would be a gigantic stone fireplace big enough for roaring flames to keep even the tallest giants warm. Or your place could be a secret magical station. Like this one, hidden in plain sight at King's Cross Station, London in the Harry Potter books. Would your station be hidden from non-magical eyes? How would people find it? Through a magical portal? And where would that portal take them? Or you might choose to describe somewhere outdoors, like a mysterious dark forest. This type of setting could have an eerie atmosphere. What strange haunting sounds can you hear in the dark? What sensations do you feel in the forest? What creatures are roaming around? Start to think about how you can build on your descriptions. For example, instead of saying the forest is very quiet, see how J.K. Rowling describes the Forbidden Forest in the grounds of Hogwarts in this passage. They couldn't hear anything but the rustling of leaves around them. The minutes dragged by. Their ears seemed sharper than usual. Harry seemed to be picking up every sigh of the wind, every cracking twig. Or you might want to write about somewhere a bit noisier, with a bit more life, like a magical street. Like Diagon Alley, a bustling street full of colourful shops selling everything a witch or wizard needs. When Harry first sees Diagon Alley, listen to how J.K. Rowling captures his sense of wonder. She doesn't just say something's amazing, she shows you exactly how amazed Harry is. Harry wished he had about 8 more eyes. He turned his head in every direction as they walked up the street, trying to look at everything at once. The shops, the things outside them, the people doing their shopping. Start thinking about how you would describe your magical setting and try to include lots of descriptive words. Think about memorable details that might make that space magical, like a starry enchanted ceiling that changes to match the weather outside, like in the Great Hall. You could use personification here, where we give human qualities to something which isn't human, like an object. For example, the stars winked at us as we peered up at them in amazement. Hopefully you now have a good idea of what setting you'd like to write about and can start to write some ideas down on your planning sheets. Here's a reminder of some of the things to think about when it comes to writing about your magical setting. I've shown you a few settings from the world of Harry Potter, but now let your imaginations run wild and invent your own. Before you turn your ideas into a description of your setting, I'm going to read you a little extract from the first Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This will show you how describing a place and the magical objects in it can paint an unforgettable picture in your reader's mind. Harry had never even imagined such a strange and splendid place. It was lit by thousands and thousands of candles, which were floating in mid-air over 4 long tables, where the rest of the students were sitting. These tables were laid with glittering golden plates and goblets. The hundreds of faces staring at them looked like pale lanterns in the flickering candlelight. Dotted here and there among the students, the ghosts shone misty silver. Mainly to avoid all the staring eyes, Harry looked upwards and saw a velvety black ceiling dotted with stars. He heard Hermione whisper, "It's bewitched to look like the sky outside. I read about it in Hogwarts history." It was hard to believe there was a ceiling there at all, and that the Great Hall didn't simply open onto the heavens. Now let's look at the little writing tips and tricks from that extract that will help you write descriptive sentences to make your setting magical. Firstly, we can add adjectives to describe nouns in greater detail. Colours are good starting blocks for adjectives, but J.K. Rowling adds another adjective in front of a colour to give an even clearer sense of what she's describing. For example, the ceiling of the Great Hall is a velvety black ceiling dotted with stars. Describing the appearances of the ghosts, she writes, "The ghosts shone misty silver." You can also use figurative language like personification, which we covered earlier, alliteration, similes, and metaphors. Alliteration is where you repeat the sound of the start of a word to make your descriptions more interesting, like when J.K. Rowling writes, "glittering golden plates and goblets." A simile is a comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind. For example, when the author compares hundreds of faces looking like pale lanterns. Lastly, you could use a metaphor, which is when something is described as being something else. For example, you could write, "The Great Hall is the heart of Hogwarts." While you're planning your writing, remember to look over your ideas and think about how you can improve them. You can add lots of different elements to your writing, much like a potion. The more bold and ambitious you are with your vocabulary, the more exciting your writing will be. If you chose to write about a street, for example, look at all the detail you can add to make that description as interesting as it can be. You could add some alliteration using adjectives, the cluttered cobblestone alley. Then we could add a simile. The cluttered cobblestone alley meandered like a stream. Next, we could add some personification. The leaded windows of the overhanging buildings were peering down. Finally, we could use our senses to describe what we see, smell, or hear. The cluttered cobblestone alley meandered like a stream, and the air around it was thick with the sounds of jingling, rustling, and chitter-chatter. The leaded windows of the overhanging buildings were peering down at the mysterious cloaked people moving in and out of them, running errands and window shopping. So now it's time to pick up your quills or your pens, take all your notes and ideas and turn them into a passage of writing. Good luck with your writing and keep going. Remember that the power of words is that you can pluck things from your imagination and make them come to life. You are creating a brand new, never before seen magical place, so have fun with it. As Professor Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts, says to Harry in the final book in the series, "Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean it's not real?"